Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to yet another Sea Red UK Chicago Bulls chat where sleep is optional and loving the Bulls isn't. I'm your host Neill, and we finally have a win to talk about. I'm going to talk about this and the upcoming game against the same team later tonight. Roll the titles.
It's time to see red.
Welcome back everyone, and before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss out on all the Sea Red UK content. So the Chicago Bulls secured a 127-111 win against the Cleveland Cavaliers at the UC the other night, and we face them again tonight in Rocket Arena in Cleveland. The big question is, how did the Bulls manage to pull off a win against a clearly better team, and not only that, but get their most decisive victory of the season so far? Well, the answer to that, as far as I'm concerned, is teamwork. This team was working on offense and defense by committee, which is the thing that I have spoken about since way back when they were doing this at the start of the season. They got back to pace, back to multiple players in double digits, and back into transition defense into fast breaks. They spread the floor better, they looked for lanes which Giddey and Jones passed the ball into. This was the same team that I was so high on at the start of the season, and it's been so long since we've got to actually see the Bulls play this brand of basketball. I don't know why or where they ever went, but the other night they were back. Let's just hope it wasn't for one night only, because I genuinely believe that this team, when they play like this, will surprise all the teams that they come up against in the NBA. Even if they lose, the games will be close, and the games that have been close will be very, very winnable games, but only if they continue to play like this. I'm hoping that they'll be able to realise that this is their identity, and this is the only way that they're going to have this kind of success. Let's hope they've had a couple of days, that Billy will have sat them down and they've watched some film, and instead this time of pulling it apart and showing them everywhere they were going wrong, because they were going wrong everywhere, they will now have been able to sit down with Billy and with the coaching staff and be able to say, look, this is what you were doing right. This is what works. This is what we need you to do. This is who we need you to be. Continue to play this way. I mean, this was another one of those games where, as much as you could actually pull out one or two players that were playing above the level of the others, the whole team played well. Everybody that came off the bench bought into everything. Everybody that was already on the floor, the starters, everybody was playing for one another in this game. And the results were there to see. Standout performances were there from Josh Giddey, right? Another triple-double, his 6th on the year so far, finishing with 23 points, 5 of 11 from 3. He had 11 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 3 turnovers, which is a much more manageable number, and he was plus 15 in the plus minus. Trey Jones had a great game off the bench, also came away with a double-double, 11 points and 11 assists, but he also racked up 3 steals. He was getting in passing lanes, and a plus 20 on the plus minus. Kobe White came in a little bit under on the plus minus with a -1, but he got 23 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. And he did kind of reel in some of those heat check shots. I think he hit, or he threw up 2 in the whole game, I believe. One was particularly bad. It was a fast break transition. He pulled up from just outside the 3-point line. Everybody was behind him. He missed a shot, easy rebound. And that's my big problem with Kobe. You've heard me talk about this before. It's something I'd like to see him work on even more, but it wasn't in this game as much, and it was apparent. It was obvious that he bought into the way they were playing that little bit better, and as a result, they came away with a much more decisive victory. Nikola Vucevic as well, for the first time in quite some time. In fact, since his little rant after the Washington Wizards game, it looked like he was actually interested in A, playing basketball, and B, playing basketball for the Chicago Bulls. He got 20 points, 9 rebounds, so very close to a double-double, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. which for Vooch is filling up the stat sheet. I mean, that is really great work from Nikola Vucevic. Plus 15 on the plus minus as well to boot. So Donovan Mitchell had his usual, great game that he tends to have. I mean, the guy's a superstar. He always seems to elevate his game against the Chicago Bulls. But they did a pretty good job on him, really. He wasn't able to take over at any point as he has done in the past against the Chicago Bulls. But he did manage to put in his 32 points and 5 assists. But he was a minus 15 on the plus minus. Now, that being said, I believe there was only 2 players for the Cavs that were in positive number on the plus minus, and it was like a 2 and a 3, and they were nobody players. It was basically, not something that really mattered. And we do have to bear in mind as well that the Cleveland Cavaliers, they were without Evan Mobley. And, Evan Mobley is a big presence for them, and they're going to feel that pinch. They are. But the question I have for you is, you take Evan Mobley out of that Cavs team, and does that Cavs team instantly become worse than the Chicago Bulls? And my answer to you is it doesn't. It doesn't. It still, on paper, is a stronger team to contend with. And the Bulls took care of business. They really took care of business in this game. And it feels great to be able to say that, because it really has been so long. Even any of the games that we have taken as wins, which are few and far between, they weren't good wins. This was a really decisive victory. So the big question, I guess, then is, can we do the same thing again? I'd like to think so. We may even have Ayo Dosunmu back in the rotation for the game tonight. We just need to make sure that we continue to move the ball, include everyone, and play with this identity. This is the identity that the Bulls need to lock in and build around, because this is the only way they are going to make an impact. If the Bulls really can tune in to how successful this brand of basketball has been for them and lock it down, then they have the potential to be able to beat any other team in this league. Yes, any team in this league, if they play like this. But if they play away from this and start to over-rely on, say, the three-point shot, as they so often have, then we'll probably see more of the losses that we've become way too accustomed to. So before I wrap this up, I just want to let everyone know that Bulls Without Borders, the other podcast that I'm involved with Philip Charles Van der Hayden IV and Hayes and Troy and Jamal, we are going to be recording a extra special episode tonight. It'll be launching live, be the 5th Red Summit this evening. And we have our first special guest, as I say. A good friend of C-Red UK, actually. He's been on the podcast quite a few times. Bulls, Bears, Fighting Illini, Fire, Union, NBA 2K, and 5-time All-Star PA, Tim Sinclair. Make sure to check it out. It'll be on at 10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time or 4 p.m. Central Time. Until next time, hit us up with a like, subscribe if you don't already, and remember, wherever you are in the world, C-Red, bleed red. Go Bulls.